Okay. So we are going to discuss practical aspect of enterobacteriaceae family, and in this laboratory diagnosis of enteric fever is important. This laboratory diagnosis consists of four steps or four things. One is isolation of bacilli, second is demonstration of antibodies, third is demonstration of antigen, fourth is other laboratory tests. So specimen collection is important, and the various specimens which can be used are blood, feces, urine. It is less frequently positive than the culture of blood and feces, but this constitutes one of the sample. Bone marrow, this is valuable as it is positive in most cases, even when blood cultures are negative. They are important. Or you can use aspirated duodenal fluid, it is bile. This is important particularly for detection of carriers. Selection of relevant sample is going to be important, and that's going to be dependent upon duration of illness. So this chart is showing the duration of the disease, specimen examination, and percentage positivity. First week, blood culture, if you do, 90% positivity is seen. In second week, blood culture positivity is 75%, feces culture positivity is 50%. Vidal test, you may get positive in low titer. Remember, Vidal test comes positive after 1 week of the disease. Correct? So in second week, if you do at the start of the second week, you may get Vidal test positive in low titer. Third week, Vidal test is going to be positive in 80 to 100%, blood culture 60%, and feces culture 80%. So this is the examination of different specimen at different phases of enteric fever. For lab diagnosis of enteric fever, blood cultures, they are positive 90% cases in first week, as I told you, 75% in second week, 60% in third week. For diagnosis of blood culture, collect 10 ml of blood in the Reinhardt infusion broth in 1 in 10 dilution. So you have to keep the dilution in such a way that suppose if the amount of blood is 1, then the dilution, the fluid or BHIB should be 9 ml, correct? That means 1:10 dilution is to be maintained. And once you do this, you are going to subculture this BHIB collected blood later on, of course, after incubation on blood agar and Macocchia. On blood agar and Macocchia, the colony will go. On Macocchia agar, you will get non-lactose fermenting colonies. Then you are going to do the biochemical test. Various sugar fermentation can be done, like glucose, maltose, mannose. Correct? Depending upon the production of gas, we can say whether it is paratyphy. If gas is positive, if gas is negative, then you are going to say this is likely to be a typhus, typhoid bacillus. Final identification of the isolate by slide administration with ONH antisera is there. That means not only taking in account of biochemicals, after subculturing, what you have to do, you have to set the biochemical testings. Correct? In that you can use indol, MR, VP, citrate test. Correct? As well as triple sugar, iron agar. And then depending upon this, various tests also, you will know about the isolate, likelihood of the isolate. Final identification of the isolate is done by slide identification with O and H antisera. Suppose if there is no growth from first subculture, like you have done the cultures, blood agar and Macocchia, then subculture from BHI blood. Subculture should be done every alternate days for next 10 days. So this is important. Castaneda method can be employed for this. What is the Castaneda method? Like for example, if you take a BHI broth, blood brain heart infusion blood, sorry. And if you are going to do subculture on blood agar and macron ki agar, correct? So that process is to be, or you may require to repeat this procedure maybe up to 10 days, correct? So chances are that while when you are handling this, there may be contamination. So what can be done? Castaneda method can be used, in which you have got the liquid medium and solid medium in one bottle only, correct? So there is a slant as well as liquid medium. So subculture can be done very easily by just tilting the liquid phase over a solid phase. So when you are going for such type of repeated subculture, Castaneda method can be used. So this is the broth which you are seeing, brain heart infusion broth, and you can see the solid phase also along with that broth, correct? So when the sample is collected, so what you can do, subculture it by Castaneda method. These are the broths, correct, for blood culture from different commercial companies. Other culture methods which can be used are clot culture. This can be alternative to blood culture. Blood is to be taken, allow it to clot. Clot is to be broken up with sterile rod. Then that is to be added to the brain heart infusion broth, which contains streptokinase. This is going to digest the clot. Bacteria are released, correct? And whatever serum you are getting as a result of clotting, that can be used for viral test. You can do feces culture. Salmonella are shed throughout the disease and even in convalescence phase, correct? So this is useful, correct? So in patients also you can do it, as well as to detect the carrier stage. You can use feces culture. Selective media can be used like DCA, deoxycholate citrate agar, Wilson Blair media, correct? These are the selective media. Urine culture can be done, but there is an irregular shedding. Unusual stain can be sent to National Salmonella Reference Center, CRI, Kasuri, correct? So National Salmonella Center, Reference Center is at Kasuri. Second thing, after the isolation, one more method can be used, that the antibody detection. For this, viral test can be done. Here you are going to use HNO, you are going to detect HNO antibody in patient with enteric fever. The antibodies start appearing in serum at the end of first week, and rise in antibody titer is seen in paired sera. Correct? Significant rise is going to be of importance, because when you are doing the test, correct? So what is important? Initially you may not get diagnostic titers, correct? You may get the positivity low titer, but confirmation is that in later stage, if you do, and if you get rising antibody titer in paired sera, then that is significant. So there are two tubes which are used. You are going to do HNO agglutination testing, correct? For H agglutination, there's narrow tube with conical bottom is recommended. For O agglutination, Felix tube, short rounded bottom tube is used. Correct? So what you have to do in viral test, you are going to make a serial dilution of serum. Maybe from 1:10, 1:20, 1 up to you can go for up to 640. So depending upon the, what you can say, instructions on the kits, various kits are produced by various commercial companies. So they prescribe the guideline. Idea is what? You are going to test the serum in dilution. Correct? So you are going to mix H and O antigens in layers and Felix evolution to be at 37 degrees centigrade overnight. And then you will see for agglutination. H agglutination will be indicated by loose water body clumps. O agglutination is going to be granular deposit at the bottom of tube. If the titer of the test, significant titer is going to be 1 in 200 for H, and for O, it is somatic antigen 1 in 100. Correct? What is titer? It is the reciprocal of highest dilution showing agglutination. Rise in the titer of antibody when test is repeated is more meaningful than a single test. The antigens which are used in viral test, if should know. H and O antigen of Salmonella typhi is used, correct? So in that, H antigen of S paratype A, that is called as AH, and S paratype B, BH. Paratype O antigen is not used as they cross-react with S type A, O antigens due to their sharing factor. So ultimately what we are going to use is, correct, somatic antigen, that is O, Salmonella typhi O, Salmonella paratyphi A, Salmonella paratyphi B, correct, is going to be the common. So total antigens which we are going to use is separately H antigen of Salmonella typhi, H antigen of paratyphi, correct, H antigen of Salmonella typhi, paratyphi A, paratyphi B as correct. O only of Salmonella typhi is used because there is cross sharing with the other species. When you are doing viral tests, we should take certain things into the account because interpretation of viral is very important. Agglutination titer depends on the stage of the disease. A patient may have an enteric fever, but if you do the test in first 2-3 days of fever, you may not get test positive. Rise in the titer of antibodies is more meaningful, I told you. So at least 2 tests are performed. Third thing is there is anamnestic reaction. That is during unrelated infection also, you may see a rise in the titer, but it is transient. Correct? Bacterial suspension used as antigen, they should be free from fibria. Otherwise, you will get false positivity. And cases which issue antibiotic, like you start antibiotic, correct? They may not show positivity in viral test. Like patient is treated with chlorphenol. So there is poor antibody response. So these are the things which are to be taken in account with diagnosis of enteric fever. Demonstration of antigen. Present in the blood, antigens are present in the blood in early phase of disease and also in urine. Demonstration by sensitized staphylococcal coagulation test, that is using a Co-11 stain is important. This can be demonstrated by, this antigen can be demonstrated by CIAP or ELISA. Other laboratory tests are also useful, like for example, in total leukocyte count, there is leukopenia with lymphocytosis. Diazo test, when you add urine, when you add diazo reagent to urine, plus 30% ammonium hydroxide, and you shake, red or pink froth is there, that is going to develop, that is positive. Detection of carrier can be done by isolation of bacteria from bile and feces. Tracing of carrier can be done like if you take a sewer swab technique, if you use, it is cause pieces or pads are kept in the sewers, dens are cultured, correct, positive swab. If you get, that is if you get a positivity detection, then you say house is harboring a carrier. Filtration of sewage through millipore membrane and culturing this membrane on a selective medium is going to be useful for detections. Vaccination. TAP vaccine, it is a heat-killed whole vaccine given subcutaneously for 2 doses. Live oral, that is type oral 21A vaccine, a virulent mutant of S type TY21, correct, can be used. And when on ingestion, it initiates infection. Later on, there is going to be cell destruction after 4 to 5 cell division. No illness, correct? And patient is vaccinated. Or you can use purified VI polysaccharide vaccine, typhimurium, correct? So, given typhimurium or typhim VI given intramuscularly in single dose. Coming to the next part, Shigella, which is positive agent of bacillary dysentery. Morphologically, they are gram-negative bacilli, non-motile, non-capsulated, non-sporing. They are aerobes and facultative anaerobes. When you grow them on culture medium, on overnight incubation, you get 2 mm diameter circular convex smooth translucent colony. Macaronkey agar, it is going to show non-lactose fermenting colony. On DCL, deoxycholate citrate agar, non-lactose fermenting colony, except one species of Shigella, Shigella soni, which is going to show the pink color if you ferment it for prolonged. So it is a late fermenter, late lactose fermenter. XLD, if you use medium, you are going to get red color colony without black center. Salmonella Shigella agar is going to give colorless colony with no blackening. Endish medium like select A broth can be used for enrichment of the fecal samples and later on subcultures have to be done. These are the species of Shigella, or these are the colonies of Shigella on EMB medium. Shigella growth non-lactose fermenting on McConkie medium. Shigella non-lactose fermenter on SS agar. Shigella on Hayton agar. And Shigella on Indo agar. Correct? So that is the representation, different type of colonies which are seen. Correct? Classification, they can be classified depending upon their biochemical characteristic. There are 4 species or subgroups: Shigella dysentery, Shigella frankneri, Shigella body, Shigella sodi. The interpretation of the biochemical test is going to be useful for species identification. There are different type of subgroups. Shigella dysentery has got serotype 1. That is Shigella shigi. That is the only catalyst negative. Serotype 2 is Shigella stimidzi. 3 to 7 are large size group. Shigella frankneri, there are 1 to 6 serotypes. They are further divided into subtypes. 2 antigen variants X and Y. And these are the biotypes of Shigella. It is Boyd 88, Manchester, Newcastle. And depending upon indole glucose and mannitol reaction, they can be identified. As I told you, they are causative agent of bacillary dysentery. Minimum infective dose is 10 to 100 bacilli. Dysentery is Shigella dysentery type 1. This causes severe dysentery with toxemia. Shigella frankneri, Shigella body, they are less severe and they are seen in tropical countries like India. Shigella soni, it is mildest form of dysentery, generally seen in Western countries. Incubation period is less than 48 hours, but it can vary between 1 to 7 days. Mode of infection is by ingestion of contaminated food. The food or drink is contaminated by feces of a cases or a carrier. The organism is going to infect the epithelial cell of the terminal ileum and colon. Organism multiply inside them. Distal part of the colon is severely affected. Then they spread laterally into the adjacent cell as well as lamina propria. There is going to be inflammatory reaction, necrosis of surface epithelial cells, and this necrotic epithelia they shed off and soft, and they become soft and friable and are sloughed off, leaving behind transverse superficial ulcer. Organism remains localized in the gut. Invasive property is there because of presence of plasmid coding for outer membrane proteins, which are responsible for cell penetration. Correct? So there is an antigen wireless marker antigen that is accounting for virulence. Invasive property demonstration can be done by ability of a VMA to penetrate HeLa or HEP2 cell cultures. For laboratory diagnosis, depending upon isolation of the bacilli from feces, we are going to take specimen. Ideal specimen is going to be a direct swab from the ulcer taken under sigmoidoscopic examination. Transport. Immediate transportation and inoculation of specimen is important. Otherwise, samples can be transported in sacks, buffered glycerol saline, pH 7 to 7.4, to microscopy. Note the findings of microscopy, whether there are plenty RBCs, 50 plus RBCs, pus cells, macrophages, and bacilli which are non-motile can be seen. Then do the culture. I told you, can be grown on blood agar, McConkie. You can use selective media also. So on culture, note the colony morphology. Do the staining. You will see gram-negative bacilli. Do the biochemical test, and then you will be able to identify the organism. So any non-motile bacillus, which is urease, cytide, H2S, and KCN negative, should be confirmed by biochemical test. But mere biochemical tests are not sufficient. Further, you have to do slide agglutination test to diagnose the condition. Uncomplicated shigellosis is self-repeating condition. So when it comes to treatment, that is going to recover spontaneously. Antibiotics are reserved for severe cases. Fewer infections, nalidixic acid can be used. Thank you with this. And we are done with the practical aspect of Enterobacter.